Honorable Member for Esa'ala.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I recognize him. Member for Esa'ala. My question is question without notice. You go towards Minister for Education and Science. My question is directly affecting the Esa'ala district. Some of my students, sponsored by the Esa'ala district, towards to the University of Natural Science. I think it's also known as University of Woodhull in the past. We have spent a lot of money through my district sponsoring those students to the university, and recently there was a student unrest that affected my Esa'ala students there. My question, my good minister, is that what action are you taking to make sure that those unrests don't take place again? And in the unrest, there was a number of action by the students who are perpetrators of that, promoting that unrest. They have burnt a lot of vehicles, damaged properties in the school, at the university. What action are you going to take against those perpetrators so those actions are not repeated again at the school? These are my questions to my good minister. Thank you.
The Honourable Minister for Higher Education.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, it is a strategic and very relevant questions that the Honourable Member for Esa'ala asked, and I am happy to answer them. The University of Natural Resource and Environment is like all other universities. Mr. Deputy Speaker, let me emphasize to the country and especially to the higher education space that the focus of the Mara Barroso government is quality. We must restore quality. Quality is paramount in the academic and technical skills programs that are run at the universities. That is the focus, and there are various strategies that the government is implementing through me as minister responsible. And the various strategies there. And one of those is, we like to see discipline, character, maturity, and standard from students. Very, very important ingredient of a university. But at the same time, we also demand quality governance, leadership, and management by the University Council and the administration. I've emphasized that to all the universities. I've met with the university councils, the chancellors, the chairpersons, the vice chancellors, the presidents of the universities. I've even talked to some of the student leaders too. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I have established that governance processes in the universities must be complied with by the administration and by the student body and the community in the campuses. And that is in line with the national quality framework and the standard we're driving. Very, very important. So when the students raise those issues, some time back, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I realized that the UNRE had not been properly positioned to answering some of those issues, legal issues that had been there. For instance, 5 years of no financial auditing done in the university, which is also something that I find true for other universities too, legacy issues. So what I've done is I've positioned the university addressing those issues. And what have I done? I've done financial investigations, and I got a report out of UNRE 2 months ago. And there is also a board that was not in existence in place at the higher education sector called the Higher Education and Research Science Technology Board that recognizes programs of the universities or also looks at the registration of a university as per the National Quality Framework. So we position those institutions to addressing those core or fundamental issues that the students may have raised or that I in the investigation will have found out. So I advise all the students in the universities that this is the approach that the government has taken, and therefore students should not, or staff should not go into taking law into their own hands, because there's a civilized process already in place as part of the governance and leadership. So that is the position that I've established. Mr. Deputy Speaker, for instance, if a student body like SRC would like to address an issue, the first place they go to is the student services at the university. If the student services of the university doesn't address the issue properly or adequately, then they take it further up to the Vice Chancellor or the President of the university. If they're not satisfied, then it goes to the Chancellor or the Chairperson of the Board of the Council. And if that is not satisfying whatever they're raising, then it comes up to the Secretary's level. And then finally, if the Secretary is not managing it, then to the Minister who advises the Prime Minister and the Cabinet as to the issue that is at hand, and the Minister tries to address it. So there is an established governance processes in place for students and staff to address issues at the university. But quickly resorting to violence, quickly running to the media, quickly trying to mobilize protests and so forth, that is uncivilized. That's backward. Can't accept this. Well, the process is stipulated in the University Act and the Education Act. So it was normal for me to look at the issues that are raised, and I have taken several steps. And I have said students are positioned the addressing of the UNRE issues as well as other university issues. You do not need to go to a demonstration or go to a strike or sit in protest, whatever. Your issues are addressed. I've done an investigation already to support me, substantiate with the facts to address those particular issues and then provide the solutions to it. It's already being addressed, Mr. Deputy Speaker. But a student still, some of the students still chose to go to the actions that they've taken by burning down some vehicles that cost up to millions of kina, and then demand the Minister for Higher Education to come and talk to them. Mr. Speaker, I cannot condone wrong. We cannot do a wrong to correct the wrong. So that's a step I've taken, but not by addressing those issues the way I've addressed, and I'm addressing issues that the legislators, I'm addressing them one by one. Is an entanglement, and I'm untying the knots, and we're addressing them to position the UNRE to be the best quality university we want to be. So, and I've put the University Council in charge. It's a permanent council now from being an interim council for a long time. They've suspended the SRC. The police has moved in. They've arrested the students, 51 of them, but then they realized that about 5 or 6 of them, they're the main ringleaders, so they're probably being talked to by the university, by the police, while working with the University Council. So that's why it is. The students, I've advised them to go back to class. This morning, I just launched a workshop of the higher education sector, and I talked to the Chancellor, Grand Chief, Dr. John Momis. I talked to the Vice Chancellor, Dr. Poyle, and they're telling me that they organize it, things are under control, and the students beginning to look at what they've done and going back to class. So I'm closely working with them, Mr. Deputy Speaker. And what about the unrest? And what action am I taking? Those who are criminals will face the rule of the law. I will not encourage ministers going down to addressing issues that can be addressed administratively. That culture is wrong. We must allow the systems to address the issues. We'll strengthen the institutions, we'll strengthen the processes, and let them address the issue. And that's what I'm doing with the UNRE to answer the Honorable Member for Esa'ala's question. The students at from East Electorate, I'd like to, through you, Deputy Speaker, ask the Honorable good member for Esa'ala and others here on the floor of Parliament to encourage students in their electorates to go back to class, because what they're doing is foolish. They use the address, and I think the students are motivated by outside private interest and not academic interest. I'm very much involved in it. I see it, and the students must go back to school. I advise everyone to encourage your students to go back to classes. While those ringleaders who are perpetrating crime, they must be treated as criminals. That is going to be the position throughout all universities. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker.